sticker shock? Have you ever gone to the store and then you were shocked at how much that item costs now?
I have that every time I go to the car dealership.
Me too.
Sticker shock.
Right. So if you have sticker shock, you'll actually want to continue this conversation with us because we're going to help you figure out how to best navigate the sticker shock that is happening in certain segments of the Ottawa real estate market. So welcome to another episode of the Inside Track on Real Estate, where you get the refreshing, hopeful truth about selling, buying, investing, making sure that the house you're coming home to, you're thrilled about coming home to. I'm Yetta Decker.
And I'm Ken Decker. And I'm thrilled to come to the home I come home to, because usually Yetta's in it.
Yeah.
I did it again. I got her speechless. This is awesome.
I don't think he's supposed to do that, is he? Like, is that supposed to happen?
Yes.
On radio?
Yes.
Because when I don't say anything, when the pause is too long, they can't see the confusion on my face.
It's humorous.
So they may wonder, you may be wondering, did you lose the signal?
I don't think it was that long.
No? Okay. So buying a home in the second half of 2018 is something you actually want to be prepared for. You actually want to be thinking about some things that maybe you didn't think about in the first half, or maybe you didn't have to think at all about in 2017 or 2016. Mm-hmm. Right? There's some necessity, I'm going to say, in being fully prepared for that. So how do you buy a house in the second half of 2018, Ken?
Well, prepare yourself for sticker shock. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Because if you've been looking, you might not even know it. If you've been looking for a long time for a home and you were procrastinating making that decision.
Right, because it's a big decision.
Yes, that may have cost you a little bit of money.
Or a lot of money.
Because properties have gone up in the last year, somewhere around 5 to 7%, some areas closer to 10%. And
some areas less.
Some areas less. That doesn't sound like a lot of money. But on a $400,000 house,
that's $40,000 if it's a 10% home.
Yeah, it's between $20,000 at 5% and $40,000. Now, fortunately, you don't have to pay it all up front.
Which is great. That's the great news about real estate. It's the real deal. It's the real thing. It's real tangible. And the great news is you don't actually have to pay all of it up front. It's the one time that one of the few times that we would actually recommend it may make sense. And for most of us, it does make sense to borrow against the house.
Borrow to buy the house.
Yeah, borrow to pay the house.
Because it's
kind of
an increasing asset.
Right, because it's
typically.
Going up in value. Well, it's an increasing asset provided you make the right decisions.
And it's also an asset that you pretty much need, or you're going to be paying rent because you need a roof over your head in our climate.
We do. It's a little cold for our street friends. It's a little cold not to have shelter.
Yes, and a little hot in the summer.
Yeah, both. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And a little wet when it's raining.
Yes.
Right. So, having a home to live in, if you're paying rent, you're actually paying a mortgage. Yeah. It's just not your mortgage.
Yes.
It's somebody else's mortgage.
So here's a key in this hot market. Is get pre-approved, and get pre-approved early. And when I say pre-approved, it's different than pre-qualified. Pre-qualified, there's websites you can do that. You can call a bank. You can go into the bank. Just know that the difference is if you're pre-approved, they're actually doing a credit check. They're asking for your docs. Now, when I say your docs, it might be your T4, what's it called?
Your tax return amount to prove that you paid your taxes, that your taxes are up to date, and an employment letter and stubs from your employer, proof that you're currently employed, not just that you were in the last taxation year. If you're self-employed, then you're going to want all your tax returns as well and proof that you're caught up on your taxes.
Yeah, your T1 generals.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to remember.
That's good. I gave you some time to think, didn't I?
I appreciate it.
Right. This is why this dynamic back and forth
works.
It may sometimes sound like we're interrupting each other. actually means we're in flow with each other because we so get each other.
Our brains are like connected.
Oh.
And that's biblical. It says the two shall become one. So we have one brain.
One brain between the two of us. I'm not sure that's a real thing.
It reminds me of that joke when you were a kid, right? I got two brains. One's lost, the other one's looking for it. Fortunately, our brains mesh well together.
Right. And I'm speechless for the second time in about 5 minutes.
All right. So part of those documents you'll want is even copies of your balance in your bank account, how it got there, because they want proof of where the down payment's coming from. It might be coming out of your RSP if you're a first-time home buyer and you have RSPs. That may be a good way. And if you don't and you're still 90 to 120 days out to purchase a home, you might want to put your money in an RSP, keep it there for 90 days, and then take it out to buy. That's a good strategy. And then the other thing is put your credit cards away.
Oh, yeah. Pack them up. Actually, the best thing to do, this is our favorite little trick. I mean, if you're done with them, maybe get it down to one credit card, so just cut them up into little pieces.
But don't cancel them.
No, it's okay. Keep them. Just cut them up so you can't really utilize it. And then, or take the ones that you're not going to use because really they need to go away when you're wanting to position yourself to have great credit. It's great that you've got credit history, as long as it's good credit history. Take that credit card or two or three, depending on how many you have, and maybe retain one for those situations where you need one and freeze the others. Put them in a block of ice in the freezer. Colored ice.
I was going to say a margarine cup, but margarine's not good for you.
No, it's not. So just red food dye. I know it's not good for you either. However, don't drink it. Just put your credit card in so you can't read it.
You put dye in it? That's an awesome idea.
Well,
I never thought of that.
Well, because now I can't sneak and go look at it and take a picture of it and then still use the credit number. I need to just hide the number.
And the reason we want you to do that is if you get more debt on your credit cards, it can affect your credit worthiness for the mortgage. And you want your credit worthiness to be high because your interest rate then can be the lowest possible.
Right.
Things that they look at, which some people may not realize, is that if you keep a balance on your credit card, how close that is to the limit will actually affect your credit rating. The other thing is how long that credit card has been opened. So if the credit's been opened for a number of years and you have a good history of paying on time, that's really good for your credit, if your credit rating. If it's just been opened, that's poor on your credit rating and actually drops it. So that's why we say put the credit cards away. Don't apply for any new credit, including going to the Don't Pay a Cent event and buying basically on credit the furniture for your new house. Because we've actually had someone that the bank redid the credit check right before closing and said, we can't give you the mortgage because your credit balance now is too high.
Right.
And they actually had to go and cancel the agreement.
So what Ken's saying there, just because this is such a vital, and you may have heard it, I heard it, but I wanted it to land. I want it to land. I want it to land for me, and I want it to land for you. And that is, if you bought your house, you've already done the agreement of purchase and sale, you've already applied for your credit, you've already qualified, you've already received your commitment letter, the appraisal's already been done, everything is good. And all you're waiting for is those next 30, 60, or 90 days until you move into your great new home. If you go out 2 weeks before you're moving into your new house and you get some new furniture, because you want some nice new furniture in your house.
Or you buy a second car because now you're out in the country and you need 2 cars.
Or you
don't do it.
Don't do it. Like, please don't do it. Or at least don't do it without checking with your lender as to whether that would negatively affect your credit score to the point, and your percentages that you're allowed to qualify to the point that you now can't buy the house. Like, not a good idea. And so what we want to ensure is that any of our clients and anybody that's listening to this show right now, or share this show with people you know that need to hear this message, because they didn't always, not to the same frequency that happens now, pull a new credit bureau right before closing. So the risk is, even though you've qualified, even though everything's signed, sealed, and delivered, if you then don't qualify when they pull that credit score a week before closing, guess what? You're not getting your house.
Yeah. It's just getting tighter and tighter and tighter, the requirements for credit. So I guess another thing would be to recognize that no matter whether you're going through your bank, a mortgage broker, a credit union, wherever you're getting your mortgage financing from, you're going to have to jump through some hoops and more than you used to. So don't get mad at the lender because it's the way life is now.
It's the requirement. And you know what? Most of it, even though it's arduous and I can find it annoying when it's my turn to get a mortgage because I'm buying another investment property or I'm doing something around real estate where I want to get access to some more cash that's tied up in my house, it's a lot more work. I don't actually enjoy it, even though I know the process and I know exactly what I need to provide. It's just an annoying thing to have to do. There's just more steps involved. And yet it's actually there to protect me. It's actually there to protect you. It's actually there to make sure that if the interest rates go up a little bit, we're not going to lose our real estate. If things change in our economy and I have to reapply or renew or things change, for me personally, I still get to keep my house. I still get to keep my investment properties. So it's actually a really good thing, the changes they've made, because it means we're better positioned to not only get the mortgage today and the financing today, but we're better positioned. You're better positioned. I'm better positioned to go with the flow as things change, because they will change. 30 years in the industry, I have seen, not at all, I've seen a lot. And I've seen, one thing I know is that shift happens. The shift takes place again and again and again. So right now it's just shift in prices. It's also shift in lending policy.
And shift in inventory.
Oh, that's number 3. So 3 big shifts.
Yes, and that leads me to my next point, was that there's limited inventory.
In some price points.
In some price points. And also know that in this market, if you find the right house, other people think it's the right house for them as well. So move quickly on it. You may still have to compete, and you might get it before other people know about it or other people buy it. So move quickly when you see the right property.
Right. And now that is not us saying, and in fact it is us saying, don't move quickly. Actually, don't move at all if it's not the right place. Like if you're feeling that sense in your gut, you ever felt that gut thing, Ken?
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking, it looks right, it should be right, it's in the right location, I'm not afraid of making a decision, I'm good at making decisions, and yet there's something in my gut that says it's not right. It's just not the right one.
Mm-hmm. And don't go for it.
Don't go for it. Like,
but when you get the reverse, you get that peace, you get that knowledge, you get that that joy that you go, oh, my kids would love it here, or this is the neighborhood, or the travel's just right, or maybe the house needs to be fixed a little bit, but yet the location is perfect. Then jump on that.
Jump fast. It's kind of like ask, how high? How high should I jump? How much ought I to pay for it? Is it priced under market?
So how quick should we move? Like, we don't go home and sleep on it.
No
we go
sleeping.
Back to the office and do the offer.
Well, actually, we don't even have to go back to the office to do the offer. We can just get to a computer, do the offer, and send it to you electronically. I mean, that's the beauty today.
So fast.
We can move so much quicker than we could have moved 10 years ago or thereabouts, or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. I mean, there was a time, and I know you love hearing my old stories because it shows you how old I am. Anyway, is when I would have carbon paper. That was my first purchase as a realtor, was carbon paper. So that, because we had to write many copies. And if I was writing it on the trunk of my car, I needed carbon paper. I don't even know what carbon paper, I don't even buy carbon paper anymore.
It was nasty. It made your hands get all
it was
black or blue.
Anyway, now all we need to do is electronic signature. It is as quick as clickety click, clickety click. Actually, it's just click, click, click. Once we prepared, it's not actually clickety click, but that is what I say to everybody. You just have to clickety click, but it's actually they just have to enter. Move the mouse onto the cursor, the mouse on top of the square. Actually, it jumps there when you click on the one. It moves to the next one, and you click. So you obviously want to trust your realtor because you're going to have reviewed what you want in your offer. And we do know exactly what we ought to put in each offer because every offer is different. And you ultimately make the decision because sometimes you want to take conditions out. That's part of this 2018, the second half of 2018. Buying the right house for you may mean you're going to do some things that we would normally and don't actually recommend you do, and yet they still may be the wise thing to do.
Yeah. The other thing I highly recommend in 2018 is look for the gem. Look for the gem in hiding, the gem that's covered in dirt, the gem that's good bones, so to speak. It may have a good furnace and a good, shingles and decent windows, but the inside looks like or
like
maybe,
what, Ken?
Or maybe it's a smoker's house, or it's just the carpets are worn out, the kitchen's old, the bathroom's got mold around it. Like the kind of house that not everybody's willing to take on, and yet it can be a gem. And you may want to subscribe to Decker Team, a YouTube channel, because on that channel there's a show called What is House Hacking? That's, I believe, spelled HACKING. It's called House Hacking. And that show will really describe how you can benefit from finding a diamond in the rough.
House hacking.
House hacking.
Yeah, it was a good joke. So when he came up with that title, even Ryan struggled. He did.
Well, he didn't struggle. He said it's been a long time since he heard that word.
Yeah, and he even did the show with Ken, so it's kind of interesting.
That's because he's the edge of the millennial.
Is he the edge of the millennial?
I don't know. I think they like calling themselves Generation Y, X, Z. I don't know, something like that.
Anyway, he's in his 30s, so whatever that makes him. And he's been around in the industry almost 10 years now, so that's kind of interesting. He bought his first house at 20 and then got into the industry shortly thereafter with us on the team, which is kind of cool. So he was a good guy to do the house hacking show, I guess is all what that's about. So finding a fixer-upper could be the gem.
Yes, could be. And you might have to fight for your house. What do I mean by fight for the house? Does that mean we get out in the laneway and we box it out with the seller?
No.
Do we box it out with other buyers?
No.
Not really.
No.
Figuratively.
No.
No?
I'm going to say no to all those things because the idea of a fight doesn't make me happy. Because I know what it's been like when we used to fight. So let's not go down that road. So really what it really speaks to is fighting for your house or positioning yourself. It just kind of like terms that are catchy and sticky. Sticky. So,
except when it's on the floor. That's no good when it's sticky. You step in it, it is sick. Gets on your sock.
So really what he's talking about is multiple offers. When there's a property that is so desirable, which is many of them today, and certain price points in certain areas are more prone to multiple offers. And yet I've recently dealt with multiple offers in $1 million price range. I've dealt with multiple offers in the 650, the 750, right down to the 3s, right down to the low 3s, to the 4s. So have you. It
doesn't matter what price you're in.
It really doesn't. It's more about the neighborhood and specific to that house. How is that house priced? So you can still. So this is an important thing around buying a house in 2018. There's certain houses you don't want to fight for. There's certain houses you don't even want to put an offer in on. They're just not good value. So even in a predominant buyer's market, there's properties to run from. A, that don't have good bones. B, that are overpriced and the seller isn't going to be reasonable on what the price really ought to be. And if there's some deficiency with location, unless the price is really being compensated for the location deficiency, then maybe, as long as the location deficiency doesn't bother you.
Yes.
We just helped a client do that. It was not our ideal location, except it was still an 8 out of 10. It was just a little close to a busier road. So there was a bit of road noise. So we spent a significant amount of time deciding whether or not, based on the value of the home and what it was priced at, if it still made sense. And if they could be comfortable living in it. They decided they could. We looked at many houses. We explored all their options. And they're thrilled and happy. And therefore, I'm thrilled and happy because they made an informed, great decision. So fighting for a house at a multiple offer, there are so many specific strategies to use. And it really is a one-on-one conversation that we have with all of our buyers and our sellers, actually, depending on what side of the fence you're on. But I know this is a buyer show, is to how to best position yourself to win and to thrive through a multiple offer scenario. And that is such a one-on-one conversation that we love to have with you, because it isn't a blanket statement. It's different every time.
Absolutely. And there are some generalities, and we have a show
Coming up.
called How to Win a Multiple Offer.
Yeah, which is a whole conversation unto itself.
Yes.
So preparing for buying a house in 2018, what else do I need to do?
Hire a experienced negotiator.
I have to do that?
You are one.
Oh, right. I am one. An experienced negotiator on your side, somebody that is familiar with exactly what needs to be done in order to determine the value, and also able to then negotiate on your behalf, keeping those things confidential that are best to be kept confidential, disclosing those details that may be best to be disclosed, and then positioning your offer in a way that it will be favorably received. And knowing how to move fast. And the team thing really, really helps with moving fast.
It sure does.
Because even if one agent is out already with another client and 3 houses come up all at the same time, the good news is we can come together and then we can divide basically and conquer and help many clients at the same time, not having to say, hey, not available, not available. It's like, yes, available, yes, available, yes, available, because we can do that many times over when we function as a team.
Right.
That's a good way to win an offer.
It's a fantastic way. Another way is ask to hear about our secret list,
Yes.
our exclusive listings. It's the ones that are getting ready to go on the MLS that sometimes sell before they even get there. And so one of the things I highly recommend is give us a call and we'll do a free consultation on what you're looking to purchase. And we can set you up not only to get the MLS listings as they come up, but also to keep you in mind as we see things that are on our future lists of properties coming to market. If they match what you're looking for, we can connect the dots.
Connect the dots so you can live in the house you want.
Yes.
We can actually connect the dots of the house. We can draw it out, little
You can draw a
dots.
house? Yeah. Okay, I'm sure you can draw a house, Yetta.
I can.
Does it have a little chimney with smoke coming out of
It does. I still has to have that. It's that 5-year-old drawing.
Yeah.
It's never left my brain.
Yeah,
Still
that's
there.
about as far as I got in art as well.
Yeah, there we go. So knowing what you're looking for and us knowing what you're looking for gives you access to the MLS, which is fantastic. And if we set up the search versus you setting up the search on any of the sites out there, you actually get much more current information. It's fresher, it's newer, it's to you within minutes of it coming on the market. Whereas if you're dealing with the third-party sites or the not directly us realtor sites, you're actually, even realtor.ca, that's actually old news. That's already a day or 2 days behind what we can set up for you. So really important to get on the most current list.
especially when some houses sell the same day they come out.
Well, many do today, right? And then there's the secret list, which is everything that Decker team is talking to any of our clients about. And then we even have access to the secret list with our brokerage, with Keller Williams Solid Rock Realty. We have an internal communication system that allows us to tell each other about all our secret list properties. So you actually get access to hundreds of secret list properties.
And here's another great idea. And in many markets, I wouldn't recommend it. In this market, I recommend it. Sometimes you need to buy before you sell, if you're able. Because then you know you're getting what you want, right? And one of the things we did for a client recently is we guaranteed their house sale.
Right.
Because they wanted to buy a specific property. It was a waterfront property, very hard to replace.
Right. They'd been looking for several years, found it, was at the right price now.
And so we were able to buy it without having a condition to sell their house, because we guaranteed that basically if we couldn't sell it, we'd buy it at the end of the listing term. So at a preset price.
Right.
So that allowed them to buy their dream home. We were able to sell that house very quickly, actually, for more money, much more money than the guarantee.
Right.
So they're tickled pink because they got both sides of the coin, so to speak.
They got the house they wanted at the price that made sense to them because they came in with a really strong position. And then they also got way more money for their house than they had anticipated. And the other party that was really, really excited was the realtor that we've been in relationship with for almost 30 years from Mississauga that introduced us to them in the first place. So he was like, wow, this is great for them, which makes him happy. So everybody's really happy. I like those happy stories.
Yeah. And the final point is be a little bit patient. If you've got a specific property that you're looking for, it may take a little longer to find it for it to come on the property.
It will. So we are grateful that we get to share stories with you that hopefully give you inspiration to know how to make great decisions for yourself and for your family. So we're really family, partnering with you, partner with each other. I look at him for family, but really you're our family too. There's nothing better than hanging out with our family at family gatherings, which we do.
On Family Radio.
On Family Radio. So it's kind of fun. So we love that we get to partner with you and moving forward together to the life of your dreams, the house of your dreams, the life of your dreams. They kind of work together.
That's terrific. So if we can be of any assistance, and I know we can be of assistance, it's just if you'd like us to be of assistance to you, give us a call, 613-860-4663.
And then let us take the uncertainty out of the buying process and the selling process and make it one of those great experiences that makes you happy so you have a house you like coming home to.